to talk about ways that you can make extra money tonight from your bees. Now, next week, you want to tune in because next week, I'm going to talk about things that you can do that are really fun and exciting with beekeeping that a lot of people want to do. It's not really a way to make money, but it's a way that you can utilize a lot of your efforts to work with the community or work with other organizations and people. And I'll be talking about ways that I have utilized bees to reach out to a lot of people and reach out to a lot of communities. I need to turn my phone off. So we got a good program tonight. Talk about how you're going to make money with bees. Now, I want to kind of say this ahead of time. Look, here's the thing. You don't have to make money on bees if you don't want to make money on bees. I don't want you to think that I'm saying everybody needs to make money with bees. Some people just like to have bees as a hobby. I know that. But still, you may want to make a buck or two just to subsidize your hobby. Or you may be somebody watching tonight because you don't like your day job anymore and you just want to quit and you're trying to find a way to make a living off of bees. And so take notes because I'm going to give you 9 ways that you can make money from bees. Okay, so it'd be cool. Let's jump right into that tonight. Let's see. Here we go. And the stage. Okay, well, the obvious first thing that you can do to start making money from bees is you can sell your honey because you've got a hive. They're going to make honey because that's what bees do, right? And so when the bees are making honey, all you have to do is bottle your honey and away you go. You can start selling your honey. I don't know where you live. You could live in Australia. Some of you are watching from around the world, all across the United States. Thanks again for watching. But what you charge is entirely kind of up to you. I mean, there are some people that sell artisan honey, like high fancy bottled honey in unique bottles from unique little cottage, I don't know. There's some places that really charge a lot for their honey and they ask a pretty penny for it and they get it. And some people just sell it by bulk price because they're big time honey beekeepers. They got honey in 5-gallon buckets, 55-gallon buckets, and, a little cheaper price when you do that. But think about what you want to charge and decide that's one way that you can make money. Now, when I talk about ways to make money in beekeeping, honey is one of the ones that people always ask me, well, how do I sell my honey? Where do I market it? Where do I sell it? And of course, you sell it at farmers markets. You can sell it from your bee farm. Once people know that you have honey, they will beat the door down to buy it. The word is out, people. The word is out that pure natural honey from a beekeeper's hive that hasn't been processed or ran through whatever is really good honey. People know that now. You don't have to really work hard to sell honey. People are really wanting to buy honey. That's one of the ways that you can use your bees to make money. Another way that you can make, I'm trying to think of easy ways in the beginning. An easier way to make income too is by selling your nukes. Now that means that instead of letting your bees swarm, you can actually go out there and you can begin to collect 4 or 5 frames from your hives before they swarm, and you can sell those 5 frames, and we call those nukes. And so some people say, I don't want another swarm. I don't want another hive. What do? I sell a nuke to somebody. And nukes are going anywhere from, $130 for a 5-frame nuke all the way up to $250 for a 5-frame nuke. Just depends on where you live, who you are, how bad people want nukes. And so we sell nukes. I've always sold nukes from way back. So this is a picture of one of my bee yards a while back of all the nukes that I was preparing to sell that year. And so it's fun. It really is. And so that's one of the ways that you can make extra income is by selling some nukes. Fun times there. Another way that you can make extra income is by selling things like pollen, lip balm, candles, wax, tinctures, lotions, other things from the hive. So the bees make a lot of things for us, and a lot of beekeepers get onto that pretty quick, and they make all these products so they can go to the farmer's market. They have a little booth or something. So in addition to selling their honey, they're also selling things like what you see here. Now, another thing that we used to sell is we used to make our own soap, big bars of blocks of soap with beeswax, and that was a big seller when we were selling honey and from a booth or something. People wanted those bars of soap as well. So now all of these things take a little study. They take a little bit of ingenuity on your part to figure out how do you do that, but they're really not that hard. They're not. I mean, there's a learning curve to figure out how you prepare these things. And in some states, there's regulations like with lip balm and things, but you can work through that just like you do any other business. Now, one of the ways that I worked many years, 6 or 8 years, I think, I worked with a wonderful contractor, and he and I removed bees from homes, and we really enjoyed that. It's hard work. And I felt like I needed a really highly skilled, qualified contractor, construction guy, because he was able, I would tell him where the bees were, and then he knew how to get them without destroying the house, right? So when we did it, we always told the homeowner or the business owner, we'll put it all back together better than when we came. So we did everything. We opened up the house or the business or the wall or whatever. We removed the bees. You're talking about 60,000, 80,000 bees, all the honey, everything. Then we packed it with insulation. Then we sealed it off, and then we put the house back together again. So that was a lot of work. Now that's I want to say that's pretty good money. You can make pretty good money because not many people do this. Pest control companies are not allowed to kill bees. You never want to kill bees in a structure, because if you do, they'll rot, deteriorate. That'll cause black mold, that'll cause ants, and just everything grows in a wall, right? It's like an animal dying in your wall. And so you don't want to do that. So people are left looking for beekeepers that can do this. But I had to have a lot of extra insurance to do this. You don't have to, but I chose to. And you need to make sure that you're meeting all the local municipality rules and such like that. But that's another way you can actually add income. Now you can remove swarm. When I go get swarms hanging from trees, I don't charge for that. They're just bees. You shake them in a box, you drive off. But when you're spending a day or two removing hives that are established in homes, you need to get paid for your hard work, I believe. Another thing that you can do if you're kind of qualified in this area, and by qualified, I mean you have some experience in public speaking and you have a lot of experience with bees. So if you've had some time to learn about bees and you feel comfortable going in front of people, then you can speak on bees, and people will pay you to speak. Conferences, they are always looking for speakers. Now, in this case, you do need the larger conference you go to, they're looking for people that have more experience with bees. But start off, even if you're brand new, at least start into the speaking circuit, maybe speaking to your local Kiwanis or, 4-H groups, start speaking at the library, gatherings, and homeschool groups or churches that are interested in bees. Work your way to get familiar with speaking, and then maybe start speaking at your local bee club, at your state conference, if that's the route you want to take. Now, speaking, I believe I've heard that speaking is the number one fear of people. People's greatest fear is public speaking. And I don't mind it a bit. I've always enjoyed public speaking. Comes easy for me. And I really play off of a crowd and I enjoy it. But if you don't enjoy it, don't do it, because people will quickly realize if you're speaking and you're not enjoying it, they're not going to enjoy what you have to say. Even though what you say may be really good, people will quickly realize, oh, he's not comfortable or she's not comfortable. I'm uncomfortable for them, and I'm not really hearing what they're saying because they seem too awkward or nervous. But if you're really comfortable speaking and you enjoy it, consider this as a way to make extra income as well. Also, you can go into things like mentoring and teaching. And so a lot of places offer groups gather, and they like someone to teach on bees for them, and they'll pay you to teach on bees. And mentoring is something that there are a lot of people that will pay to have a mentor, and either one-on-one or whatever. And I think it's up to you. A lot of people, like I said, you can do all of these things for free if you want to. But if you're looking for a little way to make a little extra money, here are some options. And of course, mentoring is one of those, teaching. And of course, YouTube. Obviously, here we are on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for a while. And let me warn you about a YouTube channel. Don't expect to have an audience, I don't want you to expect to have much kickback from YouTube financially for a long time. I know there's Mr. Beast. There's a few people out there that are, raking in a bankroll every day, but those are rare. And so if you do want to make some money off YouTube, you're going to have to do it a long time, years, maybe decade, before you even qualify to start getting paid for your videos. So go easy on that, thinking that's going to be a gold mine, because it really isn't. It helps you pay some bills after you've done it for, I think I've been doing it 16 years, that it helped pay a few bills, but you're not going to be able to give up your day job unless you do just strike it, perfect. And that's pretty rare, but there's always that. And of course, one of the ways that I've mentioned I love making income is by raising queens. White is the color for this year, but raising queens sell for about $40 plus shipping. And so if you work your way up to where you can want to sell some queens, obviously you can make some money selling queens. So you could sell, if you wanted to go kind of light, you could sell 10 queens a week, and you could make around $400. It's, 40 times 10, right? You make $400 a week selling queens. That's $1,600 a month. That's enough to pay a house note. I think, I don't know. It's been a while. So, there's ways that you can make money selling queens. It does take a little bit of skill to learn bee biology enough to raise queens. But again, not that hard once you just kind of understand it and get into it. I've already started doing this again this year, and it's really great. I've always enjoyed it so much. A lot of people ask me, how many hives do I need to raise queens? It depends on how many queens you want to raise. If you want to raise a ton of queens, you're going to need 4 tons of hives. That's one way to look at it. Yeah, you really do need 4 times the number of hives, I think. So I always tell people, think about, you need a lot of bees to make queens, but you're going to need a lot of mating nukes. Every queen you raise has to be raised eventually in her own little mating nuke. And so if you want to sell 10 queens a week, you're going to need consistently, you're going to need approximately 40 mating nukes, because you sell 10, you move to the next 10, then you move to the next 10, the next 10. By the time you sell those, you're back to the ones that you raised that are ready to be harvested. So you need 4 times the mating nukes of the number of queens that you want to sell each week. So it does take a few. Now, if you wanted to raise like 5 hives a week, it's not going to take that many hives, and it's not that bad. So I've got a queen rearing course, teaches you how to do that. And so that'd be a big help too. What about earning income with bees through a bee business? Now, obviously, we started our bee business way back in the old days when not many bee businesses were out there except 2 or 3 big companies. And so nowadays, there's a bee company around every corner. It really has taken on. I think everybody that has ever become a beekeeper has started a bee business today. It's amazing. And that's fine. But that's America. Just like there's a gas station on every corner, now there's a bee store on every corner. And they're selling bees and bee equipment in farm stores and Amazon, and they're everywhere now. But anyway, if you wanted to go that route, you can sell equipment, right? You can sell your woodenware. Now you can build your own woodenware like we did. You can actually strike a deal up with a big company and resell some of the woodenware. And there's always the equipment, as you see pictured here. You got smokers and feeders and frames and queen excluders and hat and veils and all that equipment. You can have your little store, turn something into a little store. But I would caution you, please consult your tax accountant, because once you turn your hobby into a business, everything changes financially and with the taxes and accounting and insurance and liability and workman comp and all that. And so it becomes a business. Usually your insurance company will want you to move away from residential insurance and into a business insurance. And if you're an insurance agent or you know about insurance, that is a tricky road to navigate, business insurance today. But so I would highly stress that if you start a bee business, you have to have you have to have a business insurance plan that covers you, because a lot can go wrong. And then finally, you can earn income from your bees with pollination. I've tinkered with pollination locally a little bit. I've pollinated some apple orchards, and I've pollinated some pumpkin patches, and it's always worked out well for me. I've never have ventured to try to, pack up the bees and take them out to the almonds in California. Many people do. Many people have success with that, and many people have enjoyed making a lot of money in pollination services. And that's something that you may want to eventually get into as things expand for you. And you don't always have to go to California. There are a lot of places locally. Indiana has, watermelon patches and all. I mean, there's just places that are looking for bees. And one of the things I want to caution you about pollination is that you really need a strong contract when you do that. Don't just throw, 100 hives on a trailer and get your thermos bottle filled up with coffee and head out and drop your bees because somebody wants some bees. Because what can happen if you don't have a strong contract, there can be some sprays that are sprayed, or something can happen at the location by the farmer that accidentally kills your bees, and then you're left with your livelihood destroyed. So you need to have strong contracts that talk about things like this, like, oh, what do we do if something happens and you accidentally poison all of my bees with your pesticides? Got to have a strong contract. So there you go. There's 9 ways that you can use to give you some ideas on what you can do to earn a little extra money. And again, you can always do these for free for people. Every one that I mentioned, I don't know why you would want to make equipment and sell things like hives and smokers and hive tool. I don't know why you would want to give those away, but there's always things you can do for free. Hey, there's Vera, one of my granddaughters tonight. She'll be watching. Oh yeah, great. Vera's catching another live. Everybody say hello to Vera. We got to have Vera on here because she just loves to watch her papaw on TV. So it's always great to have Vera on here. She's part of the live stream. That's great. All right. Want to thank Sherry for helping us tonight. We didn't get to have Jessica here. Jessica had a prior commitment. Jessica can't be here tonight, but Sherry's pulling all the weight by herself tonight. Hey, thank you, Keith, for that super sticker tonight. Appreciate it. All right. So let's see. If you guys want to share some questions with me tonight, I'll be doing my best to answer what kind of questions you might have. All right. Having an issue with large black carpenter ants getting into the top box of the hive where I'm feeding 1-to-1. Any recommendations? Boy, those big black carpenter ants. Yeah, you'll see them walking around. And I see them around the tops of my hives as well. Thank you, Diane, for that super sticker. I appreciate the donation tonight. Sherry and I lived in a place after we first got married. I think it was the second place we lived in. And we heard something walking across the ceiling. Thank you, Mark, for your super sticker. Appreciate it, Mark. And Sherry said, what's that noise walking across, between the floors of our old house that we lived in? It was an old house. Did I say that already? It wasn't in good shape. And we finally, one day, Sherry saw black carpenter ants walking in the crib of Jennifer, our oldest daughter, that was, wasn't even, a few months old. And that really freaked Sherry out. And as it should, right? And so we quickly called, some Terminec company or something, and they came out and got rid of those ants. So the best thing you can do is probably not worry about it. I'm most worried about fire ants getting into hives, but I don't have that in Illinois. But ants really aren't a big problem. Most of the hive keeps the ants out, most ants out. Thank you, Michelle, for the super sticker. Appreciate it so much. But if you're having problems, you really want to keep them out, you can always put some type of moat. Put some feet on your hive stand and put that into a base of water, and the ants can't cross that moat up and get into the hives. There's a lot of ways. Everybody talks about Queen Anne's lace and cinnamon and all that stuff. I know all those tricks work too, but yeah, just do the best you can to keep them knocked out. Do you have to be certified to sell nukes? Here's the deal in Illinois. I don't know what certified means, but in Illinois, I have to have the hives that we get our nukes from inspected, and by the bee inspector, state inspector, and the state inspector looks through them, looks for anything bad. Thank you again for the EL for that super sticker. And so the bee inspector will do their inspections, and then sometimes even the nukes themselves have to be inspected, looked at, make sure they don't have problems. And we have to have moving permits here in Illinois. We can't cross county lines with comb in Illinois. So we have to have a moving permit that shows they've been inspected, they passed health inspections. But as far as being certified as a person, nah, not in Illinois. I don't think most states, if you have a nuke, you just got to follow the apiary rules of selling a nuke to somebody. And that's to keep down the spread of diseases. So like European foul brood, American foul brood, that's what they're looking for. They don't want you to sell that kind of stuff. So we have to have a certificate saying they've been inspected, they passed inspection, they're good to be moved. Good question. David, can you split your nuke on the first year when you would normally add your second deep box with 2 burns feeder boards? You can, but I would be very worried about it because, you want that nuke to really get fired up and ready for winter. Depends on where you live. And I would never recommend that because it might cut you short. You might not wind up with that colony becoming as large as they need to get prepared for winter. But if you're a very good beekeeper and you're excellent in, helping colonies grow when they're maybe nectar around, you feed them and all that, you could pull it off. I've pulled it off, but I don't like doing it. I'd rather have a hive be a hive because you also have to get rid of the queen. You have to lose a queen when you sell your nuke or, add another nuke. So not advisable. Can be done. It would be a fingers crossed roll of the dice thing. Hey, Jim, how are you tonight? Getting ready to install nukes next week. The location of choice for our hives has wood bees close. Will carpenter bees be dangerous for our new honeybee hive? I've had hives around carpenter bees as well, and I do see them kind of irritating my bees. They just dash around and they don't really harm. They're not eating them or anything, but they're just kind of like, not really being happy together. But the bees continue on. I didn't do anything about it at the time. And the carpenter bees just didn't bother my bees other than just taking a nosedive, bombing dive at them once in a while. And they coexisted. But I've noticed this year, it seems like carpenter bees here, gosh, they're worse than ever. Have you noticed that too? What's the deal with those carpenter bees? And again, I don't have any problem dealing with them. You'd have to plug all the holes in the wood around your buildings and all, but they're kind of a nuisance. That's for sure. Carpenter bees. The male bees don't have stingers. They don't sting. So they're just annoying. How does the pollen stick on the legs of bees? Why does it not fall off when bees fly? Well, they have some hair back there, and they start working it back there, and it kind of clumps to the back part of the back leg. And those hairs, they add little enzymes or saliva to it or nectar to it to make it a little bit sticky, believe it or not. And so it is quite sticky. That's a good question. If it's just dry powder pollen, it's not going to stick. They're going to fly. It's going to fall off. But in this case, they make it sticky. And so it's stuck back there pretty good. Yep. Good question. A swarm formed under my swarm box, but when there was a decent clump, they took off. There's still a few going in and out. What does that mean? Oh, yeah. A swarm is also called a bivouac. And that means that it's a temporary holding spot after a colony swarms. Half of them swarms. They have a bivouac. They stop somewhere really quickly. Thank you, Robert, for your super sticker. They hang out there for an hour to a day. And so your that swarm decided not to go in there. They just wanted to hang out because they'd already found a better place somewhere. And when it was time to go, they just left that location and went to their final home. Yep, that's what happened. How can you tell if bees are replacing the queen or getting ready to swarm? Well, if they're replacing the queen, that's usually going to be a supersedure cell, which means it's going to be just one or two in the middle of your frames. I mean, just one frame may just have one or two queen cells on it. Now, if they're getting ready to swarm, they're going to have 10 to 20 cells all over the place. Low. They're going to be very low on the bottom of frames. That's how you tell the difference, Mike. High up, one or two, supersedure, and then a whole bunch of them at the bottom of your frames, swarm. I looked at a hive and made a video, working on the video now, and I counted, I think, 10 swarm cells, and I captured them all. But 2 were very high up. I mean, only an inch down from the top bar, 2 swarm cells. So they'll put a swarm cell, wherever there's in kind of irregular shaped comb sometimes. Kind of fools you. I'm having trouble with the bees drawing out wonky comb. Any suggestions how to save those frames, or should I just scrape them off? Yeah, that is a problem. A lot of people have strong opinions on what causes that, and none of those things ever really pan out to be the case for me. It doesn't happen every time. So I always like to wax my frames heavily. That helps, but that may be too late for you on that. Once they start, if they haven't gone too far, you can just tear it off and rub it into the frame a little bit more, or tear it off and re-wax the frames. But if they've already built comb and they've laid a bunch of eggs and brood and they got honey up there, it's really tough for me to destroy that. So usually I have to leave it on there, work with it, leave it, wrestle with it. And it's really hard if your queen gets behind it or underneath that, you can't really see the queen. So it can be tough. Yep. Hey, Tom, thanks for being here. Thanks for your donation tonight. People should talk to their accountant when they start a bee business. Thanks for all your help. It's great fun. Yeah, thanks, Tom. Tom's an accountant, and he's right about that. It's incredible. It's a farm business. There's exemptions for farmers, and then there's so many tax liabilities, and you really need somebody to help you out. And same is true if you start a YouTube channel. A lot of people start a YouTube channel. They start making money on YouTube, and they don't realize that, oh, I'm an employee. I have to pay taxes, a lot of taxes. You're self-employed. You pay 50% or more in taxes if you have a YouTube channel. So don't have a YouTube channel that goes really well for you without realizing, oops, I should have been saving money to pay taxes at the end of the year. Hey, David, I found my queen laying on the bottom board. Found a young queen walking around the frames, but no eggs, just larvae. How long till I should see eggs? Maybe supersede that I never saw. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Absolutely seizure there. That queen, if she just came out of her cage, the cell that day you saw her, it's going to take probably at least a couple of weeks before you start seeing eggs. She's got to wait a few weeks after she emerges. Thank you, Adam, for your donation. And then she's going to walk around, take a mating flight, come back. Yeah, so 14 days you'll start seeing things. That's for sure. Hello, Timothy. Let me watch my clock here. I'm getting my first nuke Saturday. All right, congratulations. It's supposed to rain, so any suggestions for adding them to the hive? Yep, umbrella. I mean, if it's a pouring down storm that's going to fly by in no time, and wait it out. They're in a nuke box, right? So if they're in a nice 5-frame nuke, and thank you for that super sticker. If they're in a 5-frame nuke box, they can exist in there for a good, amount of days. I mean, the only problem is they may get overcrowded in a swarm if you leave them in there for a week or two. So you got time to play the weather game if you want to hold them in there for a little bit. I'd probably wait until the weather got better, a day or two. Yep. How do you encourage bees to draw out plastic frames? I've always had such good luck with plastic frames. I mean, every now and again, I'll get a poopy one that doesn't work out very good. I blame the company, didn't spray wax on good or something. I don't know if that's fair. Probably not, but that's what I always say. I always add extra wax to my frames usually. So melt some extra beeswax, 100% pure beeswax, brush it on with a paintbrush, make it thick, let the bees draw that out. I've made a lot of videos showing you it's incredible how much they will draw those comb out if you add more wax to it. I don't know if the companies watch my YouTube videos, but I continue to say I wish companies added more wax. And some people told me that certain companies do, and I've tried those and certain companies don't. Not the way I add it. I add it where it almost covers the base of every cell. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to see that. It's not essential, but it sure helps you. And so that's about the best thing you can do is just keep trying to add a little more wax to them. Yep. It can be tough. Hey, James, what's the best way to get wild bees out of a single entrance tree hive yeah, in a friend's yard? Oh, what's the best way to get wild bees out of a single entrance tree hive in a friend's yard? So I guess you got some bees in a tree. They're going in and out of a single entrance. How's the best way to get them out of there? I've made a video about this, and I just simply said there's no way to do it. And several people said, oh, no, there is a way to do it. And they told me, this is what you're supposed to do in the comments. Well, I've been doing that. Remember, I've been removing bees from structures and trees for years. A decade and a half ago, I've been doing that. I've tried all those things. They don't work for me. You put a screen, you put a funnel screen on it. All you do is get the foragers out. You make all the bees in the inside die. Or small hive beetle go crazy in there. Or they say put a hive in front of it and eventually blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying those things don't work. They've never worked for me. So I really can't say, anytime we had to deal with bees in a tree, we always had to call a horticulturist. Is that a tree doctor? And they had to come and actually work with us to remove the tree or a branch on the tree to get the bees out of that. That was the only way we could do it successfully. Yeah, that's a tough one to get bees out of a tree. That's for sure. I've tried everything. Try some bee go in there, see if they'll chase them out. Mr. Approachable, how are you doing? When putting wax on undrawn foundation, is it possible to put on too much wax? No, I've never seen that happen. I've put on too much wax before. You see it in my videos where it just looks like a blob here and a blob there. Well, when it's all said and done and I check the frame after they've drawn it out, it's beautiful. They've spread it out. They're engineers. Anybody not know that bees are wonderful engineers at wax building? They will take whatever blob of messy old thick comb or wax you add on there. They'll make it beautiful. That's their job. They're good at it. And they'll thank you for the extra wax they didn't have to make. Mm-hmm. Donnie, how are you doing? Bees are bringing in a lot of nectar, not much pollen, no bee bread. Should I start putting pollen powder on a plate on the inside of the bottom board? I wouldn't be crazy about that, Donnie, unless you live in a place where there are no small hive beetle present. You got some pollen around the hive like that. Beetles are going to be after that. Terribly, terribly. Yeah. Don't do that. Now that I wish I had a button, I could sound a red alarm, but yeah, we don't want pollen on the bottom board because that's where a lot of the beetles will go. So if you're going to feed them extra pollen or something like that, I don't know, you could do it out in the field. But if you're in a season where things are blooming, I wouldn't worry about it. The bees are just consuming a lot of pollen right now. I think you're going to be okay. Some people use pollen patties. And again, I don't, because I got small hive beetles that will lay eggs in those patties. I don't like that. I just like to feed my pollen through pollen substitute, protein substitute through the liquid that I give bees. Yeah, pretty tough to deal with beetles and pollen. Wow. Okay, hey Mark, how are you? Got a question for requeening. Writing from Central Alberta. No drones yet, so can't raise my own queens. I took your queen rearing course. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Which is best, putting a new queen on a failing colony or a booming split? Oh, I see. So you want to put a new queen on a failing colony or a booming split. Well, that's really up to you. A new queen is going to help the failing colony, but if it's failing so bad that they really can't feed the larvae, the egg she lays turn to larvae and they can't take care of that larvae, it's going to take that colony a long time to gain traction if they're really weak. But that's just kind of a roll of the dice to see, can I get these bees going? on the weak colony. But a booming colony is always going to, enjoy a new queen and keep booming. Yeah. Going to be a tough call on that one. Yeah. Let's see if I can say that right. Long Island beekeeping. What's your opinion of having a mix of different bee types in the same apiary? Russian, Italian, Russian, Carniolan. You know what? Apis mellifera. I just think Apis mellifera is Apis mellifera. We have to remember they're the same species, so they have different types. They're from different regions. We may want to call them, I don't know what you want to call that. Different ways to term that, but for the most part, they're not going to care. Just like if you're from Italy, and of course I'm from the U.S. here, and we meet each other in a restaurant and have lunch together, I think we'd get along fine. I don't see why it would bother. We're both from the human race, right? Yeah, it shouldn't matter at all. Don't worry about that. Hey, Sally, thank you for your contribution, and thank you for your encouraging words tonight. Appreciate it. It was a hard day for me. I had a lot of failure today. How else can you say that? I just had computer glitches making videos. I had it's one of those days where nothing went right. I survived it, cowboyed up, and got through it, but I'm not happy about today at all. It's one of those days you just want to go back to bed and say, maybe tomorrow will be better. Wow. Yeah. It was a tough day for me. Hey, Art, how are you doing? How long does it take for nectar to be capped over? We have a super that filled with nectar in 9 days. We are in the desert. It should go pretty fast in the desert. Here's the thing, though, Art. If the bees need it, they don't really want to cap it over because they're using it. I mean, capped over means they're storing it. They have so much they have to put a cap on it and store it. But nectar that's brought in is used instantly for the well-being of the colony. And so that's the tough part. The more extra honey that they get, and if it's really dry, they'll cap that off as soon as they can. No way to answer that. Really isn't. If you get a lot of rain, it takes a lot longer. But I'm going to say, depending on how long it takes for them to have enough surplus where they can store extra, that's really the thing that comes into play on that question for sure. Yep. Not going to be an easy thing. All right. You guys have a lot of good questions tonight. Thanks for being here tonight. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for the new members. I see some new members for my YouTube channel as well. Appreciate that. It's always great to have you guys in the membership. You can always watch one of my videos at the bottom. It'll say join. That's a way you can help support my channel if you want to do that sometimes. Just click on the little join button, and you can make a monthly contribution to the YouTube channel and inspire me to continue to make YouTube videos. I make about 2 to 4 videos a week, and it really is a lot of hard work. So I stay busy doing that. Well, let's see. Got a little time left for a lot more questions, but don't forget, we got a giveaway coming up in just a little bit. We're going to give away this thermal imaging camera, top-down camera. I made a video on how I used it to look at my hives in cold weather. A lot of fun. Good tool to have in your toolbox. We'll give that away here in just a few minutes. Hey, Rob, how soon after transferring a nuke should I wait to test and treat for mites? You can do it as soon as you want to. Remember, you're kind of at the lowest population of bees, but since you have a nuke, they're going to be emerging constantly if you have brood in various stages, which you should on a nucleus. And so I would say it's safe to treat them anytime, really. If you want to do it right in the beginning, while they're still kind of not so overpopulated, to give you a good idea of what you're starting with, that's fine. And you can just kind of check them again in 30 days, see what the progress is. Yep, it doesn't really matter. But if you want to wait and you let them build up 2 or 3 more frames, or maybe a couple more weeks, that's fine. I don't think I would transfer them over and then do a mite test the next day, because they're kind of in a new place. They need to get settled. So give them a little bit of time. Maybe give them a week or 2 to get going. Yep. That's a good question, though. Hello, Deborah. How are you? I know you answered the question about a swarm bearding below a swarm trap. This happened today, and the cluster is still there now. Should I scoop it up and try to put it in the box? Yeah. Anything you can do, Deborah, to get that group of bees into a box is a good idea. I personally would use another box. I would leave that swarm, if it's hanging from a tree or something, I'd leave that swarm box there. I would, as long as it's reachable, I would go up to it with another box, and try to dislodge the swarm into a box that I could add some frame to. I usually like to use a 5-frame nuke box to shake my swarms into. Perfect. They like that size, and away you go. And yeah, you can do that. They'd be fine. Don't be surprised if they fly away, though, because if they've been there a while, they're already kind of know where they want to go eventually. But it's worth a try. Hey, Mark, good to hear from you again. How many drones should I see on the frames before attempting more queen raising? It's not so much the number of drones, but it's the maturity of the drones. Are they able to mate with virgin queens? And that's kind of has to be decided upon you watching, like you see drone cells, and then you calculate, what is it, 23 days after that or something. But you want to calculate out to they reach their day of maturity when they can mate with other virgin queens. But I don't know. I feel like I have a good eye for that. Thanks, Kathy, for your super sticker. I think I can look at a drone, and I could be totally wrong. I've only done this for 30 years, but I feel like I can look at a drone and see that it's of the right age, but I could be wrong. I look at some drones and go, yeah, he's old enough. You see them flying out on to go out and mate in drone congregation areas. You see them flying out, they're old enough, right? Unless they're just hanging out, taking a cleansing flight. Oh, Tim, how are you doing? Always good to see Tim. David, on one of my foundations, the bees have drawn out comb, but there is a hole under it which they go in. Any ideas? On my foundation, so you must have all wax foundation or something, or maybe they drew your foundation comb off of the plastic and they're going behind it. I've seen that happen before. There's always what we call communication holes. I've made videos about communication holes that bees travel from one frame to the next. Depending on where that hole is, Tim, I'd have to know more information, but it sounds like they might be going behind some comb between the foundation, and maybe they pulled out the wax adjacent to the actual foundation. They're going back there. That could be what's going on. I've seen that a lot. Yep. That's kind of like the comb, the columns that they build down the frames as well. It happens sometimes. All right, you guys got some good questions tonight. Yeah. Good to see all the people joining in the chat so much tonight as well. Carrie, how are you doing? How long will bees keep cap resources before using it? I'm worried about extracting syrup from before the flow with real honey. Kind of a little difficult. If you were sitting here with me, I'd ask you, what do you mean? I'm worried about extracting syrup before the flow with real honey. So maybe you have some capped over syrup that you fed your bees, they capped it over, and now you're thinking they need to uncap that so they can use the syrup you gave them, and then they will just start bringing in real nectar. I think that's probably what's going on here. That's, again, we don't really know, but if they're bringing in, if they've got that stored and capped, they may leave it stored and capped, and they may just start another super and store and cap. That's what bees do. You know how you wash your hair, you lather up and rinse and repeat. That's what bees do. They actually store nectar, cap it, and repeat, store nectar, cap it. They only uncap it when they start running out of food and they need it. And so it's going to be kind of iffy. I would say if you just don't want to deal with that, mark that super as one for the bees. I've got a lot of colonies like that. I don't take the super off. That's one for them. I have 2 deeps and a super. That's the hive. Anything above that's for me. And I just keep track of when I'm feeding them, what's on there. All right. Caught a swarm today. Yeah, me too. How long do I leave it in the trap before merging it with some weak hives? Oh, okay. If you leave it in the trap too long, a long time, they're going to start foraging and they're going to get that location memorized. And it's going to be a little trickier I like to move them out of the traps as soon as I can, but I know that's not possible because you don't always check your traps every day, right? Most people wouldn't. But if you can, the sooner you can get them out of there. The bees just haven't really decided that's going to be their home forever. So you're not going to lose a bunch of foragers. So I'd say sooner the better. Yep, sooner the better. If you combine it with a weak hive, you got to deal with the queen. You have a queen in the swarm, and you got a queen in the weak hive. So you have to decide. I would probably get rid of the queen in the weak hive. Maybe while they're weak, but who knows? Yep. All right, you want to do the giveaway now? I think it'd be a good time to do our giveaway. This is for the thermal imaging camera. It's a Top Don, and it plugs into your phone. And I made a video where I actually tried it out. And this is a paid promotion. They didn't pay me. I don't get money for doing this, but they did give me a camera. And so that's considered income. And so, but I also asked for one that I could give away on my live stream. And they said, yeah, we'll do that on the live stream as well. And so they're going to honor that. So we're going to use hashtag camera. All right. Hashtag camera, all lowercase, leave that comment, hashtag camera. And that will be, let's see. Yep. Start collecting comments now. That'll be, yep, there it is. And that way, that'll be your chance to win. So it does not help your odds any to put your name in there 1,000 times. One time is enough. And don't put capital C, put lowercase c. By the way, I think I looked this up on Amazon. It's about a $250 camera. And I thought it was really easy to use. I liked it. And I used it around my house. I actually went around the house, and I was surprised to see some cold spots that I needed to caulk. It was cold that morning, and I was like, wow, it's not even windy and cold air's coming in on my camera. And I looked up at the sky, and it's pretty cold up there in the sky, 50 below zero or something. It was fun just to play around with things around the house, you know. Yeah, so it's a cool camera, and it's easy to use. I like that. Now, it's a little different than a FLIR, and it's a little different. There's some cameras that are handheld cameras that are all built in. This one you just plug into your phone. It has its pros and cons, but it is what it is, and we're going to give one away today. That'd be fun. All right, let's see what our numbers are up to. It doesn't really matter, but I want to make sure they're not climbing rapidly. I want to give you guys a chance. All right. Yep, entries are still coming in. Let's give an entry countdown in case you just are trying to type in your camera word there. All right. We're going to do it in 3, 2, 1, draw. Here we go. Who is going to win the camera tonight? All right. Is that Elisa Perry? All right, great. Elisa, congratulations. I hope you live in the U.S. where we can ship this to you. And so what we want you to do, congratulations, is that you can actually send an email to our winning email address, and it's longlanehoneybees@gmail.com. Elisa, you need to get in contact with that email address within 24 hours so we can take care of that as quickly. Now, in this case, the company is going to be shipping this out to you, Elisa, so listen up. You need to tell us, are you going to use it on the iPhone or are you going to use it on the Android? And that way the company will know which one you need to plug it into, okay? So include that in your email. All right. Well, congratulations. Thank you guys for participating in that. All right, good. 7:53. I'm glad. Yeah, congratulations are going out. Oh, yeah. I need to tell you guys, Mysteries of Honeybees is a podcast that I started this year. If you haven't listened to that, be sure and take a listen. I'm also on the Bee Culture podcast, a very popular podcast. And I don't know if that's come out yet. I've already been with them on that. So that'll be coming out pretty soon. Podcasts are a really big thing. I also have a YouTube podcast on my YouTube channel as well. A playlist of podcasts on my YouTube channel. So a lot of things going on. In case you haven't noticed, I do a lot of things with content. I create a lot of content. And so I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you enjoy all the videos that I make, the live streams that I do. I thought about doing another live stream, and I just can't decide if I want to do another live stream. You can always get some Beak Squad merchandise for hats. Have a hat in here somewhere, shirts, and tumblers. Beak Squad is the name of our community. My name handle on YouTube is Beak. So it's a Beak Squad family of beekeepers. That's always great. But I thought about doing another live stream. Thought about like taking a Sunday, maybe a Sunday night, having a second live stream, because some people tell me they can't make it on Thursday. They want to be here for the live stream as well. So kicking that around. Leave a comment if you think I should start an additional live stream on Sunday. I don't mind doing it. I'm usually home I have activities on Sunday that I do usually out of town, but I'm home usually by, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So I could do a live stream at night, maybe once a month, once a week. I don't know. Some people say, yeah, I'll watch. Okay. Yeah. So let me think about it. I may try it out. May try to do a live stream on Sunday. And if I get tired or I can't do it or no one's interested, I can always quit, right? And not do it anymore. But I think that'd be fun to have 2 of them. Yep, that's great. Also, you can always check our website out at honeybeesonline.com. Now, this is a website we've had up for millions of years, and we sell products a lot of the products that we make, like our Burns Bees feeder boards, our winter bee kinds that are going to go on sale this August the 1st. Those sell out so fast, but I think we have a way this year I think we can keep up with the demand this year. So those will be going on sale in August the 1st, which, believe it or not, isn't that far away. Yeah. So we have a lot of products that you guys can check out, but we have online classes on our website as well, honeybeesonline.com. Hey, Robin, if you have a hive that swarms 5 times or more, do you need to replace the queen? Just did an inspection and found more capped queen cells. Absolutely. Fire that queen. There's a genetic tendency, it sounds like, in that hive for them to swarm. And so I would be wanting to requeen that hive. I'm a requeener. I really am. If you get out of line in my beehives, then you're going to get requeened. That's all it is to it. Right now, I think I have about 3 that are going to be requeened because I don't like them. They're a little too aggressive for me. They're not bad. Don't get me wrong. A lot of you would love to have these because I want to be able to work them with very little protective gear, like gloves and suits and all. And if they get to where they're popping me pretty quick when I open them, I've got better genetics than that. I can put my queens in there and replace them. But sometimes I let them replace themselves and they mate with drones out in the open. And I guess those drones around here are kind of aggressive genetics or something once in a while. You know how that happens. It's that way with all animals. Some dogs are nice and gentle. Other dogs are just barky and mean. And it's that way with people. Some people are very nice and polite. And some people are like snarky. I like that word, snarky. You go to some beekeeper meetings and some beekeepers are helpful and polite and nice. They treat you, they listen to you, they want to help you. Other beekeepers treat you snarky. I'm glad we don't have any snarky people here. That's great. We have a great community of beekeepers that join me for the live stream. Thank you for your super sticker too. Appreciate all the donations tonight as well. Yeah, I think it's a fun hobby to be a part of, and you can get in with the right group of people. But it's like every hobby, you can get in with the wrong group of people that aren't fun to be with. And so you have to kind of choose that and say, okay, this is a good group to be with. I like this person. This person doesn't really help me much. And, like I said earlier today in a blog that I wrote, there are times that in the beekeeping community that when you ask a question or you want to work with somebody, they just don't, they're kind of intimidated. They don't like you there. They have reasons for, telling you things or not telling you things. But I think we should be open and help each other out. I love helping beekeepers. That's so important for me. Well, speaking of love, I want you guys to know I love and appreciate all of you so much. It's hard work. Being a beekeeper is, whether you're me or you just got one hive or something, it's hard work. It's good. It's ugly. It's sometimes it's wonderful. Sometimes it's horrible, but it's like everything else. It has its ups and downs. So hoping you're experiencing a lot of ups right now. So I wanted you to know I love you guys. Appreciate you so much. I'm here for you. I'm doing my best to have your back in all things to try to help you and help you do a good job in beekeeping. So I'm here to help you make fewer mistakes and keep healthier bees. So I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. And congratulations to Alicia for winning the camera tonight. And be sure and tune in next Thursday night, another live stream, same time. We're going to be talking about other things you can do in beekeeping that you may have never thought about. That is a heck of a lot of fun. So good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time.